Those who live at ease are not calm because they have few storms, but because they know how to steer their boat amid the waves. They understand that no storm lasts forever, and no sadness endures for a lifetime. Everything passes. What remains is our attitude when facing it. A tranquil soul is one not dragged around by externals. Praise does not make it arrogant. Criticism does not wound it. Success does not make it conceited. Failure does not make it despair. In a hectic society, preserving inner composure is a kind of wisdom. When the mind is still, everything clarifies on its own. The ancients said, when the heart is at peace, all things are at peace, and they were right. Only with a peaceful heart can we see life's beauty, even if it is just sunlight slipping through a window or birdsong outside the eaves. Living positively is also learning to let go of what is unnecessary. Often our suffering does not come from circumstances but from our own clinging. Holding on to resentment weighs the heart down. Clutching the past makes the present dim. Gripping fear makes the future hazy. Letting go is not giving up. It is liberation. Release comparison and the heart grows light. Release prejudice and people appear more endearing. Release the ego and the world grows wider. Those who live peacefully do not chase too much. They know that knowing enough is enough. They do not let greed or envy lead the way, understanding that such things only exhaust the self. When we are no longer controlled by possessions or the gaze of others, we are truly free to live positively. We must cultivate the habit of gratitude. Each morning, merely to find we can still breathe, still have work to do, still have people to love, that is already a great blessing. Gratitude helps transform adversity into opportunity and wounds into strength. A grateful person will always find something good in any circumstance. In loss, they know at least there's a lesson to learn. In rejection, they understand that one door closes to open another more fitting. The way we look at things matters more than the things themselves. And gratitude is what lets us view life in the light. The grateful are always happy, for they need not hunt for reasons to rejoice. Joy is present in every breath. Serenity does not mean dodging responsibility or giving in. It means knowing how to act with a heart that does not cling. Work wholeheartedly, but don't fixate on the result. Love fully, but do not bind. Strive each day, but do not let pressure grind you down. When we work with a peaceful mind, effectiveness naturally rises. Conversely, when we act from fear and worry, all effort gets distorted. Acting with mindfulness, that is the path to serenity. Do your best, then learn to release once it's done, for what belongs to you will return even if it travels far. What does not belong to you will slip away no matter how tightly you grasp. To live positively and peacefully, we must learn to listen to ourselves. Amid the world's noise, few truly know what they want. Each day, set aside a few quiet minutes. No social media, no phone, just to breathe, watch the mind, and feel the current of life flowing through you. Only when the mind is calm can we hear the voice within. Often the answers to our problems are already in our hearts, if only we listen. One who listens inwardly will not be swept along by others, will not live for the crowd's gaze, will not lose their own essence. They walk more slowly, but more steadily. Living positively also means treating others kindly. A smile, a word of encouragement, an honest hug can soothe a great many sorrows. When we sow positive energy, we are nourishing our own soul as well. Life is a mirror. You give what you receive. As we spread goodwill, the world around us becomes warmer. Serenity cannot be separated from compassion, for only those who know how to love can truly be at peace. We forgive not because others deserve it, but because we ourselves deserve peace. An essential part of positive living is self-acceptance. No one is perfect, and chasing perfection by society's standards only leaves us exhausted. Embrace your flaws as pieces that form your unique character. Accepting yourself is not standing still. It is the foundation for growth. When we stop measuring ourselves against others, we can focus on our own journey. Living peacefully is knowing who we are, where we are, what we are doing, and feeling that it is enough for this moment. Those who live positively know happiness is not at the destination, but in each step. They savor the morning coffee as a gift, watch the sunset as if reading a poem, and talk to loved ones with full attention. They know all good things are fragile, so they cherish every second. They laugh when fortune smiles, they smile softly when trouble comes, and they still smile when it is time to say goodbye. Living positively and peacefully is a lifelong journey. No one achieves it overnight. At times we will stumble, rage, or grow weary. But if we remember to return to our breath, to the present, to gratitude, we will find again the peace that has always resided in our hearts. Life is short. Do not waste it on resentment, comparisons, or fear. Live lightly, kindly, wholeheartedly, and sincerely. When we live positively, the world naturally becomes gentler. And when we are serene, even in the storm, we can hear the wind whispering in the sun. Life is still beautiful because your heart is still at peace. Keeping a tranquil heart, not vying to outdo others. This is one of the deepest virtues a person can attain. In an ever more competitive and chaotic society, we are easily swept into cycles of comparison and rivalry, and in the process, we lose inner security. Everyone wants to be better, more capable, richer than others. Yet the more we try to prove ourselves, the farther we are drawn from our native peace. In truth, calmness is not indifference or surrender. It is knowing what deserves our effort and what merits release. Knowing that not every battle needs fighting, and not every victory brings happiness. A tranquil soul smiles at praise and blame alike, stands firm amid gossip, and lives true to itself no matter how noisy the world becomes in life. What makes us suffer is not material lack, but the mindset of having to be better than others. From small things, our words, clothes, car, to work, status, reputation, we want to stand above. But comparison is a double-edged sword. When we win, arrogance grows. When we lose, resentment follows. Both disturb the heart. Those who live in constant competition are bound by others' gazes. They work not for joy, but for fear of falling behind. They succeed not for passion, but to prove a point. Such a life is an endless race with no finish line. The more you run, the more tired. The more you win, the lonelier you become. By contrast, those who keep calm know each person has their own path. The rose is beautiful in its way. The lotus is pure in its way. None need resemble the other. When we stop comparing, we begin to live authentically. Tranquility is also facing gain and loss, praise and blame, honor and shame with balance. People readily rejoice at gain and grieve at loss, swell with pride at praise, and feel wounded by criticism. Unchecked, such emotions make the mind ripple like a lake in wind. The ancients taught, "Be not arrogant in victory, nor despondent in defeat. Rejoice not at praise, nor anger at reproach." This is the realm of equanimity. When we see that everything is temporary, we are no longer led by emotion. One compliment does not make us better. One critique does not make us worse. What matters is whether we live true to our values. Let others say what they will. Let our heart remain like a still surface, reflecting but not retaining. A calm person has inner strength. To stop competing, we must understand and accept ourselves. When we know who we are, we no longer need to prove anything to the world. When we see that happiness comes from within, we stop seeking it in others' eyes. Tranquility does not arise from circumstance. It is the fruit of insight. A poor person can be at peace if they know sufficiency, while a rich person can be restless if greed never sleeps. True tranquility lies not in what we possess, but in how much we can let go. The less we cling, the more freedom. The less we compare, the more happiness in relationships. Refusing to keep score is the secret to harmony and endurance. So many conflicts begin because someone wants to be just a bit more, to have the last word, the stronger argument, the upper hand. But this urge to outdo only wounds both sides. When we yield a step, it is not defeat, it is choosing peace. Like water, soft yet strong, flowing through every crevice without contention. The wise do not need to win every argument. They win by preserving composure and compassion. We forgive not because others deserve it, but because we will not imprison ourselves in resentment. Letting go of one-upmanship is a quiet kind of victory over our own ego. Keeping calm also means accepting impermanence. Everything changes. What we have today may be gone tomorrow. What is near today may be far tomorrow. Acceptance lightens the heart when upheaval comes. Those who refuse to accept suffer from even the smallest change. Those who understand impermanence can remain steady despite great loss. When we realize a human life is but a breath, we lessen anger and clinging. Rather than ask, "Why did this happen to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" Such an attitude turns pain into lesson and adversity into a chance to grow. Tranquility is seeing life with compassionate eyes, without blame, without attachment, that a tranquil person also lives more slowly to truly feel. Amid the din, they still find moments of stillness, watching the rain fall, listening to an old song, brewing a hot cup of tea, breathing deeply and smiling. These simple moments nourish inner quiet. Peace does not come from avoiding the world, but from living in it without letting it stir us. Like a lotus rising unstained from mud, one can live among scramble and remain unclouded within. Refusing to compete also helps us prize real happiness. When we stop comparing, we see that happiness is not having more than someone else, but having enough for ourselves. A humble family meal, a calm afternoon after work, a sincere hug, these are happiness. If the heart keeps chasing outward, running after fame and gain, we will miss these simple things. Tranquility is coming home, living fully in the present, finding sufficiency in every breath. Those with tranquil hearts need not seek peace. They have become peace. To attain such calm requires daily practice. Each morning, begin with a deep breath and the reminder, "Today I will not let anyone or anything shake my heart." When faced with what displeases us, pause a beat, observe emotion rather than react. When hurt, choose silence over quarrel. When successful, bow in thanks rather than boast. Each small act is a step back toward inner peace. Ultimately, keeping a tranquil heart without competing is a way of life, one that keeps the mind light, the spirit joyful, and the heart ever open. When we need not prove ourselves, are not swayed by praise or blame, and do not let greed, anger, or delusion cloud reason, we are truly free. Life is short. Choose calm as your bearing, compassion as your strength, and love as your language. After all, the most precious thing is not victory or defeat, but a soul still intact after every storm. Learning to let go and to change is a difficult inner journey, yet is the only path that leads us to freedom and true growth. In life, everyone has clutched something, a person, a memory, a dream, a pain, as if releasing it would mean losing everything. But our refusal to let go only imprisons us behind invisible walls of the past and of fear. Letting go is not weakness or surrender. It is a kind of courage. The courage to face truth, to leave what no longer fits, and to give ourselves the chance to move on. Life is always in motion. If we cling to the old, we get stuck in what is already past. Change is nature's law. Letting go is the skill that lets us live in harmony with it. From childhood, we are taught to persist, to push to the end, to hold tight to what we want. Few tell us that some things hurt the more we hold. A relationship gone cold, a job that drains us, a dream that no longer suits. If we cling, we only make ourselves suffer. Some things depart not to punish us, but to clear the way for better things to arrive. A river must leave its source to meet the sea. A tree must shed old leaves to sprout new. A person must release old pain to make space for new joy. Letting go is not forgetting. It is accepting that something has passed, and no longer belongs to us. When we can say that's enough, lightness begins. Letting go is also learning to accept impermanence, that nothing in life lasts forever. Happiness and sorrow, success and failure, all are waves that rise and fall. When we resist change, we resist nature itself. Those who flow with life are those who can let go. Some relationships are most beautiful when they stop at we once were. Some dreams, though unfinished, are still worthy because we once burned for them. Nothing is lost entirely. It only changes form, into memory, into lesson, into our maturation. Like a butterfly leaving its cramped cocoon to fly, we too must dare to step out of our safe zone to discover a larger self. Sometimes letting go means accepting forgiveness, not only for others but for ourselves. We often hoard old wounds and gnaw on regrets. If only I'd done differently, but life has no if only. Every choice we made was the fruit of our understanding at that time. Forgiving ourselves is the first step forward. Once we forgive, we're no longer shackled by remorse or hatred. Both are chains of the mind. Releasing resentment does not make us weak, it makes us lighter. A heart crammed with hatred cannot be happy. Only by letting go can peace take root within at times. Letting go is learning to be silent. Not everything needs explaining. Not everyone needs to hear our side. Some misunderstandings only time can resolve. Some wounds only silence can heal. The wise choose silence not because they lack words, but because they know speaking would no longer help. Silence is also a kind of release, letting go of the need to be right, to be superior, to be understood. When we stop arguing and stop proving ourselves, an uncanny peace settles in the heart. Letting go is inseparable from change. Only when we can release do we make room for renewal. Many people fear change because they believe it equals loss, but in truth, change is the condition for growth. Life is like a garden. If we refuse to prune the dead branches, new shoots will never sprout. Each time we let something go, we are clearing space for something better to arrive. Change is not always comfortable. It asks us to step outside our comfort zone and face uncertainty. Yet, no transformation comes without value. Just as soil must crack for a seed to break through, and dawn only arrives after night, change is proof that we are still alive, still learning, still evolving. Let go and to change. We need both wisdom and courage. Wisdom helps us discern what to keep and what to release. Courage helps us act even knowing it may hurt. There are losses that first draw tears, yet later we are grateful for them because they taught us to grow. Courage is not the absence of fear, but daring to act despite it. Each time we dare to let go, we teach ourselves a lesson in freedom. Once we grow familiar with change, we no longer fear losing because we understand what departs, if it truly belongs to us, will return in another way, more mature, more profound. Learning to let go and to change is also learning to live in the present. The past is beyond our reach. The future has not yet come. Only the present is real. Yet we often live with the mind in the past or the future, regretting what is gone, worrying about what has not arrived. Letting go is returning to this very moment where we breathe, feel, and live authentically. When we dwell in the present, we see there is nothing to fear. Everything is simple and sufficient. Letting go and changing are not a one-and-done act, but a process repeated throughout life. We release bit by bit, letting go of expectations, of fears, of the ego, of what is no longer truly us. Each release makes us lighter. Each change is a rebirth. In the end, we realize nothing is lost. Only we become a better version of ourselves. When we know how to let go and to change, we are no longer shackled by the past or intimidated by the future. We learn to smile at imperfections, accepting that life is a canvas of many hues, light and dark blending into beauty. We understand that all things come and go for a reason, and our task is simply to pass through with gratitude. Letting go is not losing, but finding ourselves again. Change is not an ending, but the beginning of a new journey. And when we learn both, we see that peace was never far away. It has always been in a heart that can release, can renew, and can truly live. Live sincerely, and with goodness is the root of human value. The measure not found in wealth or fame, but in how we treat others and ourselves. In a world changing by the day, where material gain, achievements, and appearances sometimes overshadow ethics, sincerity and goodness are more precious than ever. A person may lack money or status, but if they lack sincerity, everything else becomes meaningless. Only sincerity can nurture trust, bond souls, and make life warmer and more humane. Living sincerely first means living truthfully, true in thought, true in feeling, true in action. A sincere person need not be perfect, but they always inspire trust and ease in others. Sincerity does not mean saying everything. It means speaking from the heart. No deceit, no embellishment, no currying favor for benefit. When we live truthfully, we may disappoint a few people, but we will be at peace with ourselves. Pretense may win temporary favor, but only sincerity keeps hearts for the long run. The human heart can sense what is real and what is false, and once it knows, it will forever cherish what is honest, however simple. That a good-hearted person is one who can tell right from wrong and dares to do what is right even at a cost. Goodness is not weakness, but the strength of moral character. To live with goodness is not to exploit anyone, not to trample others to get ahead, not to lie for gain, not to act against conscience even when no one is watching. In a world full of schemes, keeping a good heart is like protecting a lamp in the wind, difficult but worthy. The good-hearted may suffer short-term loss, but they gain a long-term reward: sound sleep, a tranquil mind, and the respect of those perceptive enough to see their worth. Some say practicing goodness in a cutthroat world is foolish, weak, unrealistic. But think, the cunning may win a few games, yet they rarely win at life. Money can buy comfort, but not serenity. Fame can bring noise, but not genuine respect. Goodness is not the easy road, but it is the right one because it leads to inner peace. The good-hearted do not chase the crowd or prove worth through outer success. They let actions speak. A helping smile, a kind word, a small good deed. These are the quiet imprints of kindness, and each one softens the world a little. Live sincerely and kindly is also to love, to empathize, to place ourselves in another's position. When we understand that everyone carries their own pain, we judge less and harden less. Sincerity is not only telling the truth, but caring truly. A check-in when someone is sad, a helping hand when someone falls. This is how we give our goodness. Remember, kindness need not be grand. If it comes from the heart, even the small can reach others. We may not change the whole world, but we can warm our own corner. From such small things, character is nourished and the world is healed. Those who live sincerely and kindly do not fear being taken advantage of, for they understand that everything operates by cause and effect. You reap what you sow, an unchanging law of life. Sow goodness, and you will receive peace. It may not be immediate, but at some moment, when you need it most, merit will return. Conversely, the deceitful and cruel may profit for a time, but sooner or later will pay the price. Cause and effect do not err, they only arrive slowly. Thus, goodness is a long-term investment in oneself. We cannot change other people's hearts, but we can choose not to be swept into wrongdoing. A kind soul naturally attracts good, like a fragrant flower to which butterflies come. Sincerity also demands the courage to face ourselves. Dare to admit fault when wrong. Dare to apologize when we've hurt someone. Dare to speak truth when we disagree. Dare to refuse what violates our principles. These are signs of strong character. Sincerity is not weakness. It is honesty and bravery. The sincere live comfortably because they need wear no masks. They need not remember yesterday's lies or fear exposure. They are free because they live rightly. And freedom is the greatest happiness a person can know. Living with goodness sometimes means accepting a little loss, and yet we gain so much. When we help without expecting return, our hearts feel glad. When we forgive instead of retaliate, we feel lighter. When we choose silence over winning an argument, we keep our peace. No one pays wages for these, but they are priceless spiritual rewards. Kindness is like water, apparently soft yet immensely strong. It can wear down rock, nourish life, and cool the world. The good-hearted may be used by others, but they have never truly lost, for what they receive is respect and genuine love. In an age when many live fast, speak hastily, and act for short-term gain, sincerity and goodness become guiding lights. Tell the truth when you can, help when you can, listen with your whole heart, and live so that thinking of you is to think of kindness. You need not be perfect, only genuine. In the end, people won't remember what we wore or did as much as the feeling we gave them. Warmth, safety, and trust live sincerely and kindly is a lifelong journey. Not always easy, but always worthy. Sometimes goodness is misunderstood and truth is twisted, but do not let that change your nature. As flowers still bloom unseen and the sun still shines behind clouds, the good-hearted keep living well though the world may change. What defines a person's true worth is not how much they have, but how well they have lived with integrity. And in the end, when we look back over life's path, we will see money may be lost, fame may fade, but the sincerity and kindness we gave will remain in others' hearts. That is the noblest spiritual legacy. The reason we are remembered not for success, but for having lived a life worthy of trust, compassion, and respect. Awareness of karmic affinity and impermanence is among life's deepest lessons. Only by understanding these can we truly live calmly, treasure the present, and release when needed. We often suffer not from lack, but from clutching what never belonged to us or resenting what is left. Yet everything in life follows the laws of affinity and impermanence. That is, every meeting, joy, or sorrow has a cause, and nothing endures forever. When we grasp this, our hearts cling less, anger less, and demand less. Affinity, Nandian, is the invisible thread connecting all things in the universe. Nothing arises or vanishes on its own. Everything forms when causes and conditions converge. When conditions are sufficient, things come together. When they are exhausted, things part. A flower blooms because there is a seed, soil, water, sunlight, and favorable weather. Without any one of these, the flower cannot be. People are the same. We meet someone, love someone, or part from someone, all due to affinity. Some pass through our lives merely to teach a lesson. Some stay to walk alongside us. Others arrive to help us understand that to love can also mean to let go. Affinity is not blind fate, but a subtle combination of cause and effect, timing and choice. Thus, when we meet someone who brings peace to our heart, cherish them. And when someone leaves, do not resent it. Perhaps the affinity is complete, and they came only to fulfill a role in our story. To understand affinity is to practice gratitude rather than possession. We thank those who loved us, for they taught us to love. We thank those who hurt us, for they taught us strength. We thank even brief encounters, for they shape our journey of growth. With gratitude, we stop blaming. With understanding, we stop clinging. We realize that everyone who came into our life was the right person, right for the time we most needed them. And when the affinity ends, letting go is not loss, but a form of maturation. Like flowers blooming and fading, like waves rising and settling. These are not endings, but the natural law of life. Impermanence is the truth that everything in life changes. Nothing is lasting, nothing is fixed. Leaves change with the seasons, water keeps flowing, people come and go, youth also passes. That is the natural order. Yet we humans so often resist that change. We fear loss, fear aging, fear separation, fear difference, so we cling, we grasp, we try to control. The more we cling, the more we tire. Impermanence does not ask whether we are ready. It arrives, gentle as breath, yet strong enough to alter an entire life. The greatest human suffering is the refusal to accept this truth. Nothing lasts forever. The person who was with us yesterday may be far away today. Today's smile may be replaced by tomorrow's tears. Impermanence cannot be held, but it teaches us to cherish. When we truly see impermanence, we learn to live fully in each moment. Knowing this instant will never return, we do not squander it on anger, blame, or comparison. We learn to say thank you while we still can, sorry while there's time, and I love you while there is someone to hear it. Impermanence does not make us bleak. It makes us value what is small and near. A meal with our parents, a quiet morning, a hug, a simple check-in. Only when we know all things can be lost do we begin to live deeply. Impermanence also helps us release fear and suffering. If happiness does not endure, then neither does pain. Every wound heals, every loss passes, as rain gives way to clearing, night to dawn. With impermanence understood, we do not despair in hardship, nor do we indulge too long in joy. We know every feeling is a passing wave. There's no need to fight it. Let it move on. One who lives with impermanence can smile even in a storm, because they know the sky will be clearer after. Karmic affinity and impermanence teach us humility and compassion. When we see that everyone is shaped by their own karma and conditions, we judge less readily. Instead of asking, why are they like that? We understand because their conditions are thus. Each person comes to us bearing a unique story, a path of their own. No one is flawless. No one is wholly bad. With empathy, the heart widens. With impermanence, we loosen our grip. The deeper we understand these two truths, the more we love life, others, and ourselves. Some ask, if everything is impermanent, what's the point of living? The answer is, precisely because of impermanence, we must live wholeheartedly. If you can do a good deed today, do it. Tomorrow may not offer the chance. If you can love today, love. Time waits for no one. If you can forgive today, forgive. Resentment only burdens the heart. Impermanence makes life precious. It reminds us that each passing moment cannot be repeated. When we clearly realize karmic affinity and impermanence, we find true peace of mind. We stop chasing what lies beyond our reach. Stop cursing fate. Stop fearing loss. We live lightly, gratefully, and mindfully. We treasure those who are still beside us. Treat them better, speak more beautifully, and love more sincerely. For we know that tomorrow we may not have the chance to begin again. In the end, life is a weave of affinity and impermanence. We come into this world not to possess, but to experience, to learn how to love and how to let go. Every meeting has meaning. Every parting has its reason. Grasping this, we no longer fear loss or suffer a change. Instead, we bow in thanks to life for giving us the chance to live, to love, and to learn understanding. Living in that awareness, though the world keeps turning, our hearts remain serene like still water, reflecting all shifts without being swept away. Affinity teaches us to cherish. Impermanence teaches us to release. Only when we understand both do we truly know what peace is. The lessons of adversity are among the most precious gifts life bestows, though they are often wrapped in pain, tears, and loss. We all wish for happiness, safety, and ease. Yet it is precisely when we fall, lose our way, or are wounded that we come to know ourselves most clearly. Adversity is like fire that assays gold. It does not come to destroy, but to temper. Only through hardship do we learn to stand again, to appreciate what we have, and to discover our real strength within. Life is never a smooth, straight line. Each of us has our own winter, betrayal, failure at work, collapse of health, or the death of a loved one. In those moments, it can feel as if everything has fallen apart and we cannot go on. But with time, looking back, we see that the very trials taught us more than years of calm ever could. They taught patience, resilience, gratitude, and, most importantly, how to live true to our hearts. Adversity is the clearest mirror of inner strength. In easy times, anyone can smile, speak kindly, and appear strong. In hardship, only real metal shows. The faint-hearted lament their fate. The strong find a way to rise. The difference lies not in circumstances, but in attitude. Faced with the same event, those who call it a catastrophe live in misery. Those who treat it as a lesson grow wiser. Like a seed, only when buried in dark soil and battered by weather does it sprout. So too with people. Adversity is the milieu in which we grow, not the place we must fall. From adversity, we learn patience. No success comes overnight, and no pain heals in an instant. Every wound needs time. When we demand immediate improvement, we only exhaust ourselves. Trials teach us to wait, to listen, to trust that the sun will rise again. Each fall trains us to stand up more slowly, yet more firmly. Like a climber, the higher we go, the stronger the wind, yet it is that very wind that hardens our step. Adversity also teaches gratitude for the simple. Losing health makes us appreciate waking without pain. Losing a loved one reveals the worth of a family meal. Losing a job shows the joy of having a place to contribute. We truly mature only when we are grateful even for little things. Hard times strip away arrogance and entitlement, reminding us that all good is fragile and happiness must be tended daily. One of adversity's greatest lessons is learning to let go and accept. Some things cannot be kept no matter how hard we try. When we lose something, a person, an opportunity, a dream, it is not a period but a comma beginning a new chapter. Trials help us view life more generously. Not everything that comes is a blessing, but whatever leaves surely leaves a lesson. With acceptance, we do not fear change. With letting go, we can move forward. Hardship also reveals human hearts. In difficulty, we see who truly loves us and who stays only when we are useful. When we fall, the hand that reaches out is the one to cherish. As for those who leave, do not resent them. They teach us about trust and self-reliance. No betrayal is entirely wasted. Each hurt makes us more mature and discerning. After adversity, we learn to choose companions, to prize genuine affection, and to see that sometimes solitude is a gift, giving us time to know ourselves. Especially, adversity is a chance for spiritual and intellectual growth. In success, we easily forget humility. Pressed by suffering, we begin to seek deeper meaning. We learn to listen inwardly, to believe in cause and effect, to slow down and understand that every upheaval is a teacher. Those who have suffered are often deeper, more compassionate, less judgmental, because they know everyone is fighting battles unseen. Adversity reminds us, too, that all is impermanent. Today hard, tomorrow easier. Today's sorrow, tomorrow joy. When you're in pain, remember, no sadness lasts forever. Time can heal any wound, and the heart, if it learns, can turn hurt into fuel. Treat adversity as a strict teacher. It may bring tears, but in the end it makes us stronger, more understanding of life and of ourselves. Someone once said, "Without storms, there can be no rainbow." Indeed, only after rain do we prize the sun. Only after loss do we learn what it means to keep. Adversity is not an enemy, but a companion on the path of self-cultivation. It trips us so we learn to stand, sends us astray so we find our way, draws tears so we know the value of a smile. Ultimately, the greatest lesson of adversity is faith. Faith that everything happens for a reason, that after every night there is dawn, and that even if the world turns its back, we can still stand if we do not lose faith in ourselves. Adversity does not come to crush us, but to show we are stronger than we imagined. Once through it, we are no longer who we were. We become a sturdier, deeper, more compassionate version of ourselves. Adversity is life's examination, not to punish, but to teach us to grow. When we can thank even what has hurt us, we will see. Every loss is a step in the evolution of the soul, and in our darkest days, the light of resolve and trust shines brightest within us. Simple happiness and human kindness may seem small, Yet they're the deepest foundations of a peaceful life. In a modern world loud with material noise, fame, and endless races, we easily forget that happiness is not far away or found in grandness. It lives in small moments, in sharing, in warm humanity, and in the simplest rituals of daily life. When we slow down enough to look deeply, we discover happiness is not a destination, but the manner of our travel, gentle, sincere, and loving. Simple happiness begins with what is so familiar we stop noticing. A quiet morning birdsong at the eaves, a hot cup of coffee, soft sunlight through a window. It is the family meal with a father's laughter and a mother's gentle voice, the feeling of one's own bed after a weary day. Happiness is living true to ourselves. No strain, no masks, no chase after someone else's image. Hence the saying, the happiest person is not the one who has the most, but the one who knows enough. Knowing enough does not mean stopping. It means not letting greed rule us, not losing the plain joy nestled amid so much glitter. Human kindness is the root that nourishes that happiness. In a world growing colder under workloads and digital walls, genuine concern, a few caring words, or the smallest help becomes priceless. It may be a friendly smile in a crowded street, a hand offered when someone falls, a hurried glass of water in harsh heat, or a simple get home safe. All are signs of humanity. Such small things soothe the soul with surprising power. Sometimes a kind word can save someone from despair. A compassionate glance can dissolve years of hidden loneliness. Simple happiness and human kindness need not be lofty. They need only be sincere. Living with compassion, we not only bring joy to others, but also enrich our own hearts. Helping does not make us poorer. It lets us feel useful and makes life meaningful. Offering a little time, a word of encouragement, or simply listening, that too is sowing seeds of love. True happiness is not how much we receive, but how much we can give and see others smile because of us. Those who live for others feel their lives brim. Those who live only for themselves remain empty. Living in this world, we cannot avoid collisions, misunderstandings, or hurts. Yet human kindness teaches us to forgive and to be generous so the heart can grow lighter. Forgiving is not forgetting. It is releasing resentment so the mind can be at peace. When we look at others with empathy, we see that everyone has reasons for their actions. Everyone carries invisible wounds within. Sometimes just a gentle gaze, a respectful attitude, is enough to dissolve the distance between two souls. Such is human kindness, neither noisy nor showy, yet bearing a healing power greater than any medicine. Simple happiness also comes from learning to slow down, so we can fully feel each moment. In a hurried rhythm of life, people easily forget the value of the present. We worry about tomorrow, regret yesterday, and forget that today is the most precious gift. When we pause to watch a sunset, to breathe deeply, to hear our loved ones' laughter, to read a good book, to cook a meal with all our love, that is when we are truly living happily. Simple happiness does not demand that we have a great deal. It asks that we feel a great deal. Human kindness also teaches that no one can live in isolation and be happy. We are born to connect, to love, and be loved. A society is truly good only when people care, share, and place the common good above self-interest. When we treat others well, we are spreading positive energy, and that energy, in a natural way, returns to us. Perhaps not today, but surely one day, when we are vulnerable, someone will do the same for us. Simply because they felt the humanity we once sowed, many of us toil after distant happiness, in fame, in money, in power, only to discover in the end that happiness has always been near, in a loved one's eyes, in a mother's call of my child, in a family meal, in an afternoon sipping tea with friends. When we stop comparing our lives to others and learn to cherish what we already have, happiness blossoms on its own. Life is short, and happiness is simple. Open your heart, love, and be grateful, and you will find yourself ever rich. Simple happiness and human kindness help us not only to live joyfully, but to live deeply. With love, we become more forgiving. With gratitude, more humble. With sharing, more strong. The happiest person is not the one with the fewest sorrows, but the one who can turn sorrow into understanding. Those rich in human kindness not only warm other hearts, they keep their own from growing cold amid a changing world. In the end, simple happiness and human kindness teach one great lesson. Living well is enough. No need to stand out, no need to prove anything. Only to do one kind thing each day, to speak one gentle word, to live with a clear heart and gratitude. Help others when you can. Smile even after a long day, and do not forget to be tender with yourself. For when we live with human kindness, we do not merely bring light to others. We illuminate ourselves as well. Happiness is not far away. It lives in how we love, how we treat others, and how we live each day. Human kindness is a small flame, but if each of us lights one, the world will no longer be dark. Buddhist thought and life philosophy are a treasury of profound wisdom that helps us recover inner peace amid a world full of change and impermanence. Buddhism is not only a religion, but a human philosophy that teaches us the nature of suffering, of impermanence, and the way to live with wakefulness, compassion, and wisdom. The Buddha did not promise heaven nor threaten hell. He simply pointed the way back to ourselves, the path of ending suffering through understanding and love. To study the Dharma is not to flee life, but to understand it, to live in the world with a heart untainted by T. The core of Buddhist thought stands the Four Noble Truths. Four truths about life: suffering, its cause, its cessation, and the path. Life is suffering, dukkha. We suffer because of greed, anger, and delusion. If we uproot these roots, we attain peace. And there is a way, the Noble Eightfold Path. This is not mere doctrine, but a spiritual map for self-mastery. Suffering is unavoidable, but not frightening, because suffering is a teacher. Only by facing, observing, and understanding our pain can we free ourselves. Buddhism is therefore not pessimistic, but profoundly practical. It teaches us to receive life as it is, without running away, clinging, or blaming. Another foundational insight is impermanence. Everything, body, matter, and feelings, arises, abides, changes, and ceases. Impermanence hurts when we lose what we love, but seen deeply, it is the very miracle of life. Thanks to change, flowers bloom and fade, winter passes and spring returns. We are born, grow, and hand life on. Realizing impermanence loosens our grasping, helps us honor the present, and saves us from suffering over the past or worrying about the future. One who understands impermanence can smile even in hardship, knowing this too shall pass. Alongside impermanence is non-self, a subtle concept of Buddhist philosophy. I is not a fixed entity, but a temporary aggregation of five skandhas: form, body, feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. When these gather, a sense of I appears. When they disperse, that I is gone. Seeing non-self makes us humble, less selfish, and less pained. Much suffering springs from inflated ego. We demand to be understood, loved, acknowledged. When we realize we are part of a larger whole, we open up, love more freely, and stop placing ourselves at the center of the universe. Karma and its results are also an unerring law. As you sow, so shall you reap. Every act, word, and thought creates karma, the energy shaping our future. Do good and goodness returns. Sow harm, and sooner or later, you must pay. Karma is not punishment, but the universe's fair lesson. It calls us to live responsibly, carefully, in thought and deed. Understanding karma, we cease blaming heaven and earth, knowing that what happens arises from what we have done. From this insight grows forbearance. Rather than anger, we see that others, too, are ruled by their karmic patterns, and we learn to care instead of hate. Buddhist thought also emphasizes the middle way, a life of balance, free from extremes. Do not torture the body to become enlightened. Do not indulge desires and sink in them. The middle way is moderation, knowing sufficiency, knowing what should and should not be done. Amid material life, it teaches simplicity without asceticism. Amid career, wholehearted effort without fixation on results. Amid relationships, love without bondage. One who understands the middle way lives at ease, doing one's best, letting go lightly, not being driven by extremes. The most beautiful jewel of Buddhist philosophy is the union of compassion and wisdom. Compassion is unconditional love, caring for all beings as oneself. But compassion is not weakness. It walks with wisdom to avoid blindness. Love without wisdom clings and sacrifices blindly. Wisdom without love turns cold and proud. When the two unite, we become understanding and inclusive. Compassion opens the heart. Wisdom sees things as they are. One who is truly wise does not judge. One who is truly compassionate does not harm. Buddhism also teaches mindfulness, living in the present with clear awareness of our actions, feelings, and thoughts without being swept away. When eating, just eat. When walking, just walk. When sad, just know sadness. No judgment, no escape. Mindfulness helps us see the roots of suffering and how to transform them. Instead of reacting automatically with anger or fear, we learn to observe, breathe, and let the mind settle. When the mind is still, everything becomes clear. Thus, Buddhist life philosophy does not urge us to withdraw from the world, but to live within it without being dominated by it. Work, love, livelihood, building, these are all good, so long as we do them with mindful hearts. A person who understands the Dharma is not merely one who chants in a temple, but one who keeps a peaceful mind in the marketplace. Not envious when criticized, not arrogant when praised, not shattered in failure, not intoxicated in success. They understand all things are conditions. Arriving, they are welcomed. Departing, they are released with a smile. Buddhist thought and life philosophy are therefore guiding lights for modern people, those lost amid ambition, competition, and anxiety. They remind us to return inside, to listen to our breath and heart, to see that peace is not outside but within. When the heart holds the Buddha, everywhere is a sanctuary. Without the Buddha, even the calmest place churns with waves. To understand Buddhism is not to become someone else, but to return to our innate clarity. When we live with compassion, wisdom, and mindfulness, we not only understand life, we truly live, deeply, gently, and free. The message to the young and to our children is a heartfelt call about how to live, how to be human, and how to find true meaning. In an age of boundless opportunity and endless temptation, where technology and social media connect us faster, yet leave us lonelier than ever, the young need a compass more than ever, not merely to succeed, but to live kindly, responsibly, and genuinely happy. Ultimately, a person's worth is not measured by fame or wealth, but by character, filial gratitude, and how we treat others. First, remember filial piety and gratitude to our roots. Parents have given half a lifetime, often an entire one, for our meals, our sleep, our first steps. As children, we were their whole world. As adults, they become a small corner of our busy lives. Youth are easily swept up by study, work, romance, and friends, forgetting that our parents are aging each day. Backs bending, hair whitening, eyes dimming. And, most crucially, our time with them is shrinking. Do not wait until lost to realize. If only I had come home a bit earlier, called one more time, spoken one more loving word. The greatest success in life is not a lofty status, but the ability to set our parents' hearts at ease and bring a peaceful smile to their faces. Call often. Go home when you can. Speak love while there is still time. Beyond filial devotion, the young must learn to be a good person before being a skilled worker. Today's world exalts knowledge, skills, and credentials, yet sometimes forgets ethics. A talented person lacking honesty and kindness will, sooner or later, lose trust and happiness. To be human is not to live only for oneself, but to care for others, to respect, to listen, to apologize when wrong, and to say thank you when helped. Do not trade character for small advantage. Reputation can be bought with money, but trust can only be built with virtue. The sooner young people grasp this, the less lost their lives will be. Another essential lesson is learning to live true to yourself. The age of social media makes it easy for many young people to lose themselves under the spotlights of others, living to be recognized, to be liked, to be followed. But living that way is borrowed living, living to please others while forgetting what you yourself need. Remember, true happiness does not lie in comparison, but in the serenity of the soul. Do not let artificial standards wear you out. Dare to be different, dare to fail, dare to rise, and dare to begin again. Success does not come from running faster than someone else, but from persevering to the end of the path you have chosen. Young people must also learn a spirit of responsibility. Every action has consequences, and maturity is when we accept responsibility for our words, our decisions, and even our mistakes. Do not blame circumstances, other people, or fate, because only when we take responsibility can we create change. At work, give your all. In study, make a genuine effort. In love, be honest and respectful. Taking life seriously is the key to being taken seriously by life in return. At the same time, young people should keep a kind heart. The world out there may be cold, but do not let it make you indifferent. Kindness is never outdated. It is simply mentioned less. Help when you can, speak gently when you have the chance, and treat everyone with sincerity. We may not change the whole world, but we can make someone's world better. And that, in itself, will make our own lives more meaningful. Remember, adversity is not an enemy, but a teacher. No one reaches success without ever stumbling. Failure is not frightening. What is frightening is not daring to stand up again. Young people can be hasty, afraid of losing, afraid of being left behind, but must understand that each person has their own rhythm. Life is not a race. It is a journey of experiences. Be patient with yourself, for every flower needs time to bloom. When difficulty comes, do not run away. Face it, for it is precisely then that we learn the most about courage, resilience, and faith. Young people today must also learn to love in the right way. Love is not possession, not demand. It is growing together. Do not love in haste out of loneliness. Do not close your heart because of old wounds. Love with understanding, with respect, and with a generous heart. A beautiful relationship is not a perfect one, but one that helps us become better versions of ourselves. And more important than anything, before loving anyone else, learn to love yourself, to understand and care for yourself, so you do not need another to feel you have value. Another message for the young is to learn to live for the community. We cannot be separated from society. Living only for oneself is a meager life. When we do good for others, even as simple as picking up litter, planting trees, donating blood, or sharing knowledge, we are helping to make the world better. The young should nurture civic spirit, environmental mindfulness, and a willingness to help the vulnerable. A society is truly good only when its youth live with responsibility and compassion. And finally, the greatest message to the young generation: live with dreams and do not fear change. The world always belongs to those who dare to think differently and dare to act differently. But remember, a dream cannot fly without the feat of effort. Take the leap, keep learning, step outside your comfort zone. Life is never easy, but it is always fair to those who persist. True success lies not in how much we achieve, but in who we become along the way. Young people today have everything: knowledge, technology, freedom. Yet they also risk losing the most precious thing, their soul. Therefore, keep for yourself a warm heart, a clear mind, and hands that know how to do good. Remember, living kindly is never a loss. Living sincerely is never out of date. When we live rightly, live usefully, and live with love, then no matter how life changes, We remain the winners. Be a good person before you become a great one. Be grateful before you demand. Be kind before you succeed. And no matter how far you go, never forget to return to your parents, to your family, and to your truest self. The crystallization of a life philosophy, serenity, gratitude, and goodness, is the most beautiful destination of the human journey. After all the experiences, losses, triumphs, and stumbles, what remains is not fame or fortune, but a peaceful soul, a grateful heart, and a mind inclined toward goodness. Life cannot avoid storms, but when we know how to live serenely, we no longer fear strong winds. When we are grateful, we do not see life as unfair. And when we turn toward goodness, we find the true meaning of existence. These three values are inseparable, blending into a complete circle that helps us live deeply, fully, and happily. Serenity is not apathy or numbness. It is the ability to keep our mind calm amid upheaval. The serene person is not one who never faces hardship, but one who can smile in the midst of the storm. They understand that life is impermanent, sometimes bright, sometimes dim, sometimes gaining, sometimes losing. Some people arrive and others depart. If we cling to grievances, we only invite more suffering. When the mind no longer fights the present but knows how to receive it, we become truly free. Serenity is when our joy does not depend on others, our sadness does not linger too long, and greed does not cloud our reason. It is the stillness of the inner life, where we continue to work, to love, to live among ordinary days, without being toppled by the world. To attain serenity, we must learn to let go and release. Letting go is not giving up, it is ceasing to cling. Some things we cannot keep, no matter how tightly we hold. Some people must leave, no matter how deeply we love them. When we understand that everything arrives and departs by its own conditions, we stop forcing. Letting go lightens the heart. Only a mind without entanglements has room for peace to dwell. The serene person does not need to prove or compete, only to live true to the conscience. They look at life with gentle eyes, without comparison or envy, and do not let trifles disturb their heart. For they know time is short. Why waste it on meaningless things? Gratitude is the stance that lets us see beauty in every condition. With gratitude, we stop looking at life through eyes of demand and start looking with a heart of appreciation. We are grateful for waking to another day, for food, clothing, loved ones, and meaningful work. We are even grateful for trials because they forge us. Gratitude turns suffering into lessons, adversity into opportunity, and the ordinary into the miraculous. The grateful do not sigh, "Why me?" They smile and say, "Thank you for what I can learn here." Gratitude is also a thread that binds people to one another. Grateful to parents, we are filial. Grateful to teachers, we study well. Grateful to those who help us, we live kindly. Grateful even to those who hurt us, we grow. A person who lives with gratitude has no room for resentment or jealousy. They live humbly, knowing every success carries others' contributions. They do not place themselves at the center, but always see the unseen hands that lift them up. Gratitude keeps them happy because they always feel enough. Goodness is the highest expression of wisdom and humanity. No one is born perfect, but everyone can become better. Turning toward goodness is not only doing good deeds, it is aiming the heart toward what is right and beneficial for people in life. A person inclined to goodness will not do wrong even when unseen, will not lie even if it pays, will not harm even when it is easy. They trust in cause and effect, knowing every act leaves its mark on the universe. They sow good seeds through small things, a kind word, a helpful hand, an encouraging smile, a compassionate gaze. Goodness is also forgiveness and forbearance. When we forgive, we free ourselves. Anger and blame only exhaust the heart. When we understand others are suffering too, we no longer wish to hurt them. The person who turns toward goodness looks with loving eyes, helping when they see pain, understanding when they see mistakes, lifting those who are weak. They do not need gratitude in return. They need only a tranquil heart. Good deeds are not for recognition, but to nourish the soul. Whenever we do something good, however small, we plant light into life, and that light also shines back within us. These three streams, serenity, gratitude, and goodness, flow together into one source: inner happiness. Serenity gives us calm before life. Gratitude brings joy to each moment. Goodness gives meaning to every action. Serenity without gratitude can grow cold. Gratitude without goodness stalls at emotion. Goodness without serenity easily grows weary. Only when all three become one do we truly live fully. This philosophy is also a key to healing today's world, where people chase things and forget the soul. A society may advance in technology, but without gratitude and kind hearts, it is empty. If each person lived more serenely, more gratefully, and more toward goodness, the world would hold far less suffering. Each small act can create invisible ripples that move others to live better. Living with serenity, gratitude, and goodness is not lofty theory. It is the art of everyday life. When tired, breathe and release. When joyful, give thanks. When someone needs help, lend a hand. Start small, smile at a stranger, thank the server, forgive a loved one's mistake, share a meal with the hungry. This is how we practice the philosophy in ordinary days that in the end, living with serenity, gratitude, and goodness does not make us saintly. It brings us back to being fully human, clear of heart, broad of compassion, steady of mind, in harmony with life. Happiness is not having a great deal, but living rightly, sufficiently, and beautifully. When we live this way, each day is precious. Every person we meet is a meaningful condition, and each breath becomes a thank you to life. Live serenely, so the mind stays unshaken. Be grateful so the heart never runs dry. Turn toward goodness so life is never meaningless. These three, simple yet profound, are the essence of a life philosophy, the guiding light leading us back to peace, happiness, and true freedom.